Alright. Practicing is all about repetition, frequency, and small things. Um, you don't try and practice a whole song all at one time. Well, I mean, at a certain point, maybe you can sit down and play a whole thing that's new to you, and it's not that hard. But when you're learning how to do something, you got to pick small portions of it and figure out how to do those. Like if you were learning to cook a meal, you wouldn't just skip over all the preparation aspects of cooking and just start cooking the whole thing. You need to know how to get to dice stuff up and eat things that I don't know how to do, but I understand. Like I think I understand my metaphor. So like something like that. That is that's just two little chord patterns that I have. It's a song that I call Tobe's Lament, and it illustrates the way that I would practice something. Where if I was figuring out how to do this, I would play it something like this. I would play real slow, and I would get that pattern down. And sometimes there's things like this that they don't come real quickly to you and they don't happen right away. And when those things happen, you have to come back to them over and over during the day, and you have to do it a little bit every day. But what you want to do is you want to find the pattern that works, that does it cleanly. And then you have to play it slowly over and over. Don't just get to a point where you go, that's one time through, and don't stop at one time through. Play it 20 times through. Play it 50 times through if you have time to do that. And then add the second part, and then play that all together 50 times in a row. And I mean, that's really just all practice is it's repetition. But if you try and do it too fast, and you don't ingrain the right habits, then you just sound sloppy. If you play it this slow, then when you bring it up to speed, your left hand and your right hand communicate, and they just speed up. It's not anything more than just a gradual increase of the speed, and all the habits have already been drilled in at that slow speed. And that's what you have to practice. You have to practice things over and over. And I also think it's good, like other things that I hear people talking about doing, and this is a really big one, is just get a guitar stand and just leave the guitar out. And that way you can pick it up a little bit every day. It's better to pick it up a little bit every day than to play it a ton one day and then skip 3 days and come back. Because it's all kind of about drilling in habits. And habits are formed by repetition. and a routine. So you got to do it a little bit every day. And then other little things that I think about with it, I've had this guitar, I had a guitar that looked exactly like this before it. And this is, I've had, the better part of, well, probably 20 years, better part of it. This guitar has, it's all the screws are all corroded and dark and gross, and if you get really up on top of it, you can see like where the sweat ends and the dirt starts, and you can see this gold hardware is kind of worn away and now looks silver, and then there's grime on parts of the fingerboard around the frets, and I don't have like super acidic skin that kind of eats away finish like some people do, but I always wanted that. I always thought guitars looked cooler when they were beat up, but I also think if you leave all that on there and you can look at it, you realize and you can see, I've been playing that. I've practiced. I think that's important to have at least one guitar, even if you like cleaning your guitars. Have one of them that you leave around to practice on, that you're so busy playing it that you don't have time to clean it, and you will get better. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to illustrate a point that I'm making by showing you something I'm trying to learn how to do, which is sweep picking. That I'm basically a novice at. I've never really gone into this, so I'm just working on this. I'm gonna play this one pattern that I saw a nice tutorial of, and I'm gonna show you how I'm going about it. And in a week or two, I'll come back to it and I'll show you how much better I've gotten at it. Hopefully, by following my own instructions. This is what it sounds like. So let me see. I'm overthinking it here. I should have ended there. See. See, that's pretty sloppy. Because I'm learning what to do. Now, I've already been doing this for a few days, so I was not I was playing it like this fast when I was starting how to do it. I was playing like. And see, I need to go back and do that because I can't do it as clean, slow as I can if I go a little bit faster. But that's what practice looks like. It's not flashy. It's not glamorous. I think Nick Cave said, he writes in a room away from everyone because the creative process and learning, it's not nice for other people to have to see you do that. So that's what I'm trying to show you here is that it doesn't look great at first. That's the whole point of practicing, is to go over and over and over it. And that's the only way you're going to get better. But do little things like, take your watch off, sit in a room maybe that has no other distractions in it if you're really trying to learn something. Like I'm in my room in the basement that I teach out of, and there's no TV or anything like that down here. A lot of times I come down here, I don't even bring my phone with me unless it's to do something like this, like to film this. But that's the way you got to practice. Like figure out maybe like if your bedroom works. A lot of times your bedroom can be quiet, and just pick up the guitar as often as you can, and sit down and try and go over something 10 times. Like just go over one thing 10 times before you go back out and do something else. Because I know everybody's busy. But that's how you get better. You just got to do a little bit every day. A little bit every day. A little bit every day. That's how you get better. And there's something else I was thinking right there in that moment. Oh, and then once you get a little bit better, if you want to reward yourself, then go get your phone and either turn on the voice, memo on your phone, or record it and watch yourself practice. And if you do that, then don't do it again for a week. That's kind of what we're going to do here, what I'm going to do. Watch back if you followed that regimen of practicing every day, and watch the difference of the two things that you from when you started and where you're at. And that can be your reward to yourself, that you can see you're progressing and that it's working, because it will work. That's how we learn everything. That's how you learn how to walk. That's how you learn how to talk. That's how you learn how to drive. It's just by repetition. It's just that those things, maybe you didn't have to think as hard about. And then the other thing, I hear people talking about not noodling, and that's good. But if you are at a point where you can play melodies that you can kind of noodle, because noodling is it's kind of a byproduct of being able to actually kind of play. I heard somebody say, like, just stop noodling. You can kind of stop noodling just by slowing down, I think. Because slowing down and making a purposeful melody like... if you just kind of make a purposeful melody, that's almost immediately not noodling. So sometimes it's not necessarily about what you're playing, it's about, what you're trying to play, what you're focusing on, what you're trying to do, and having an intention. And, those kind of practices work for all kinds of things that you're learning how to do. People set goals for themselves, they set intentions, and then they write things on a board, and they want to have a reminder. So do things like that, and then tape your progress in less specific intervals, or less frequent intervals, and allow yourself to see you're progressing. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. A little bit every day.